the sad plight of Hindus under communist rule. The whole world needs to see this video. This is an appeal to humanity from a group of people struggling to survive under the stranglehold of communism in the state of Kerala in India. Their faith is under question. Their freedom to practice religion is under question. Their rituals are under question. They remain locked under the communist regime of the state that is fascist and autocratic to the core towards Hindus. To understand the pitiable situation of Kerala Hindus, a glance at history in a few words may be helpful. Kerala has got a unique political history. This is the state where communism, which is basically against democracy, resorted to the path of democracy to cling to power. The first government of the state of Kerala was the first or probably the second democratically elected communist government in the whole world. This itself well explains the extent of the tactics that the communists have played in Kerala to gain power. Then onwards, till today, the communist parties have been enjoying power in every alternate 5 years. 5 years is the complete tenure for democratic governments in India. Led by one or other leader, from day one onwards, the communist governments have got a common trail. They remained anti-Hindu on several occasions. All the communist governments tried behind the curtain to wipe out Hinduism, thus reducing the ethnic community to the verge of tears. Many policy decisions and campaigns repeatedly popped up targeting the Hindus. The field was set through political campaigns by communist factions for their own governments to go for anti-Hindu decisions. A little more behind in history, prior to India's independence, temples were maintained by local rulers and noble families. Enough wealth for temples to exist autonomously was kept aside. But in the initial days of India's freedom, everything was in turmoil, and that led to losing the wealth of temples. Land, buildings, etc. were encroached. Thus it became impossible to maintain temples with own funds. Realizing the situation, devotees started joining hands locally to manage temples. But the governments couldn't tolerate this. The authorities interfered purposefully and enacted laws to bring temples under the government control. Separate department, ministry and even boards were formed. Almost all such bodies remained top heavy and were safe havens for political appointees. Most of them, being non-believers, were not even hesitant to obey the political masters and act in an anti-religious manner. Political decisions in religious matters, Kerala became a laughing stock. The state control of temples, in effect, took the places of worship away from those who follow the faith. The reforms introduced and restrictions imposed went against the wish of the devotees many times. The political administration always tried to interfere in temple affairs and even rituals. That trend increased only. It was a few years back that the communist government decided to take non-believer women to Shabarimala, the popular abode of Lord Ayyappa. That was misusing a court verdict allowing women of menstrual age to enter Shabarimala, where there is customary restriction for young women to pray. What the court directed was to allow believer women at Shabarimala, but what the communist government tried was to take non-believers to the divine center, ignoring the widespread protest of Shabarimala Ayyappa devotees. Even though this move resulted in a political setback to the party, the communist government is not in a mood to give away its anti-Hindu attitude, shows further developments. The last anti-Hindu decision in the row was taken by the Travancore Devaswam Board under the government of Kerala the last day, and that was to sell away the valuable belongings of all the temples. The items decided to be sold include Nilavilakku lamps, bronze vessels, etc. The Kerala Hindus are gloomy not just for what they lost. What is lost is lost. But is future secure? At least they fear. They suspect the communist eye in something else, which is precious to the whole world. In Thiruvananthapuram, the capital city, exists Sri Padmanabha Swami temple, where the largest wealth that a religious institution all over the world may possess, according to the available information, is stored. Underneath the ground, in more than one cellars, precious stones, statues, crowns, thrones, ornaments, coins, etc., made of valuable metals like gold and silver are kept. They have been collected and kept reserved by many generations of the rulers of Travancore as deities' wealth over thousands of years. The fact that there is immense wealth at Sri Padmanabha Swami temple was unknown to the public, including Hindu devotees. It was brought to public attention only a few years back following a case filed before a court. Devotees are excited to know about the rare and invaluable collection the favorite deity has. But the politicians keep an eye on the wealth. It is doubted the communists in the power leading the march now. It is a very big question that whether political leaders are going to misuse the temple wealth for temporary physical gains. Communism doesn't value religion. They keep no positive sentiment towards religious people either. Is the key to believers' happiness with non-believer communists? Is opening the treasure vaults of Sri Padmanabha Swami temple a dream, say agenda for the communists of Kerala? If so, will their footprints be followed by other political parties in the queue? That will be the end of the story. Join the genuine campaign against looting the temples of Kerala. Support the survival attempt of Kerala Hindus who are safe in the hands of their gods and so unsafe under communist regime. For similar videos and reports, please subscribe the channel. Also, click the bell button to get the updates.